Hi, Bo Henshaw here, another one of my YouTube videos on current events. And this is a predictable one on the outcome of the quote unquote election we just had. And it comes from a Democrat from Massachusetts named Ayanna Presley, who's quoted as saying, unity for the sake at the expense of my equality is a non-starter. It doesn't work. The problem we have with that, and she's, by the way, black for what that may be worth, but the equality you think you have, and all of you people that have been elected to Congress, and none of you have been, we'll go into that at another time, but are not qualified to hold your positions, any of you, because you declared on multiple times under penalty of perjury that you owe your birthright citizenship to Section 1 of the non-existent 14th War Amendment. What this means, one way or the other, is that you're actually aiding and abetting those whose goal is the destruction of our Constitution and Republican form of government of defined and limited powers. Those are acts of treason, according to the U.S. Supreme Court. I believe them. For that reason, even if you had standing, but you don't, you've lost it. And you don't have anything. There's nobody in Congress in either house of cards there, Senate or House, that has any standing to do anything whatsoever because of this situation. To which I would reply, unity at the expense of our Constitution and Republic is not an option. Those of you demanding this kind of equality have to realize that the blacks especially got nothing out of the 14th War Amendment. The real agenda was to make citizens out of corporations. And you can read all about that, by the way, by ordering my materials. Just recently, I had a 33% drop in my price with the holiday season coming on and the continued COVID crap. But send me an email, uwinandcourt@gmail.com. I'll get you information about these materials. And I've got it in black and white, dead bang proof. And this is how I go out there and do what I do. How I walked out of that South Carolina jail cell when they refused to go to trial. There's no way they could do it. Won the Oakland felony case I was handling for the same reason. They can't go to trial. And there we would have had three of us, me, the kid's mom who was in jail, and the kid himself. And both of them were pretty well up to speed. They'd done some homework, and that helps. And that's what you need to do when you get my materials. The good news is it won't take you 10,000 hours like it did for me in those musty old law books. I've got it set forth if you do a little studying of my 5 basic documents, and I'll tell you what those are when you send for information. You get a pretty good grip on things. The crown jewel of what I do, there are no states admitted into this union. I have the California Supreme Court saying it, not me. And if you know what you're reading, the U.S. Supreme Court as well. So that said, if you're going to do that kind of equality, not only isn't worth the sacrifice of our Constitution, but it doesn't help anybody because they're treating us all like what happened was really, rather than add to the sovereign body politic of the nation and republic, which they couldn't have done the way they do it. And you read my brief on the 14th War Amendment, it sets everything out. Can't be done the way it was done. That was never the idea. And if that had been known at the time, it wouldn't have been passed even in the northern states. What they did was reduce us to the level of the freedmen. And now the de facto National Socialist government and their bosses at 120 Broadway, New York, goddamn New York banksters, think that they own all of us and that we are their slaves. There isn't much difference in slavery, except that it's more cleverly concealed these days. Once you get over that hump and learn what it is you're going to learn by getting my materials, send me an email, uwinandcourt@gmail.com, and you'll find out where the truth is and what we can do about it. And I still think we can. This is the only nation ever created where if we work together with the unity that this Massachusetts Democrat decries, work with unity across the spectrum. Americans first, state citizens first, followed by Asians, Africans, whatever. And we're the ones that have to take the lead here because the Constitution was ordained and established to secure the benefits, blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. So we in particular have not only that duty, but the right, which I'll be making a sustained effort with the 9 parts, aka the U.S. Supreme Court, in an upcoming petition to tell them that and say, listen, you're the only judicial court we have, and maybe not even that one, as you'll find out reading my updated materials. If there are no judicial courts, every law on the books is a bill of attainder. We win on that issue alone without even more than that. Taking of life, liberty, or property without judicial process, they can't do it. Not if we have a constitution. And by the way, the last time I found that the 9 parts have ruled serious on that issue, 150 years ago, Cummings v. Missouri. That's no accident. They got the message at the same time with the McArdle case, and they haven't made any rulings like that since that time. We start raising issues like this and doing it with as much authority as you're going to get when you get my documents, priced, by the way, at about 100th of 1% of what it would cost you for a 4-year education at Harvard, Yale, Berkeley, Stanford, or any of those famous law schools if they were still teaching the Constitution. And oh, by the way, Berkeley just recently made Constitutional Law 101, the only course apparently they offer on the Constitution, been relegated to an elective. Now, they won't admit it, will you, Erwin Chemerinsky, the dean of the law school there? The reason for it is that since there's no Constitution, why do students want to waste money on taking a course they're never going to use? So, I mean, you tell me, they don't think there is one. And I disagree with them about that. And I have a lot of authority from stellar authorities in an earlier era that would disagree with it. That's what you get when you get my document package, and you can use those not only to learn yourself, but teach your children, their children, and your posterity. Give you a much better chance to get the hell out from under these bastards that think they own all of us in Washington, D.C. Now, that's the whole point of the exercise. And why we're going to beat them in front of a jury that none of us are ever going to see, because we're not there for the money first. Yeah, there's going to be a good chunk of change with all the violations of law they've committed. But what I'm really in it for is to make changes so all of this stops and doesn't happen to anybody else. I mean, I did my 7 months in Columbia, South Carolina, and I got out from under, and it shouldn't have taken that long. It's an interesting story for another video. But I did, and I had no problem with it, didn't have a bad day while I was there, amazingly enough. But in any event, that's the big deal here. And people like these idiot Democrat from Massachusetts who are so ignorant that they don't have a concept what the law is. And that's a big problem all of us had. They didn't teach me 50 years ago either. If I would have heard the veto speech of President Andrew Johnson on the Reconstruction Act of 1867 and U.S. history in 10th grade, my life would have been a hell of a lot different a long time ago. They don't want you to know anything about him. And in fact, what you learn is he's the worst president we ever had, which is just business as usual in Langley, Virginia with the CIA. Black is white. It's just the opposite. They think on the opposite end of the scale, Lyndon Johnson was probably right up in the top 5 presidents. And again, dead wrong. Andrew Johnson is the one you want to pay attention to. And I just simply didn't know, now that I know. And he was a patriot, and he did the utmost that he could do to keep Reconstruction from happening, to keep the states in the Union, and none of it worked, unfortunately. I think we can get it back. I think we can do it the way I'm doing it with the issues I present. I have multiple unopposed constitutional issues. It will take a little study on your part, some time and effort. But as Benjamin Franklin once said, eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. I've done my 5 decades, and I continue to work every day all in. And that's what it takes for me to do it. And I take very hard lines. I know you people out there can't do what I've done and gotten the hell out of the system, rescinded Social Security on the record by certified mail. I'm not in their system. They don't own me. If you do it right, they don't own you either. That's an exciting thought. I mean, your life is your own. Like they said with the Declaration of Independence, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Where the hell did that go to? But this is the kind of crap we get. And I'm going to add here your LGBTQ types too, because you're saying we have equal rights. No, you don't. especially when I was in that jail cell in South Carolina 4 years ago, they had a situation come up. I don't think it ever reached the court, but an attorney was seriously arguing that his transgender entity, whatever the hell that is, had a right to select his own public bathroom because taking a crap in a government funded bathroom affects interstate commerce. That's how fucked up this system is. They really think this. And that goes back to the FDR era and the New Deal, which they didn't bother to tell us. The deck included 54 jokers. It would have been nice to know contemporaneously. But that said, interstate commerce controls everything. Not only is that federal jurisdiction, it's admiralty. And that's one reason, those of you that get my document, send me an email, uwinnincourt@gmail.com. And I hit hard there because admiralty or commerce clause powers are admiralty according to the U.S. Supreme Court. State courts are constitutionally barred from exercising admiralty. So where the hell are we when we're in front of that traffic commissar, for example? They don't have any jurisdiction. You make the right arguments in the right time, set the unopposed record, and you probably get out from under. I've never even gotten to a jury trial. I'm never going to get to one. Haven't paid $1 in fines, fees, or anything ever, even back in the day when I was starting out and I didn't know a whole lot. But I made a good enough show of it even then that they couldn't take any chances to get the money issue, for example, before the 9/0 parts, because that undoes them. You'll learn about that by getting my documents. uwinnincourt@gmail.com. The money issue, such as it is, it's astounding. So I've gone on here a little longer than I should, but the point is, unity is exactly what we need. The more of us out there doing it across a broad spectrum, the quicker we get these bastards off our backs. Send me an email, uwinnincourt@gmail.com. I'll get back to you with information and some bonus documents to help get you up to speed. Meanwhile, subscribe, like the videos, tell your friends, get the word out. The sooner we get started, especially in this unprecedented window of opportunity with all this COVID crap, the quicker we have a chance to get our nation and republic back. It won't be perfect to start out. It wasn't then in 1789 either, but it's a hell of a lot better than what we have now. And we can work on it and make changes the right way, consistent with the Constitution, not in contravention of it. That's what needs to start happening here. So we'll see how things go. We're coming into the new year, and hopefully next year will be a better. It can't possibly be worse, can it? So we'll see how things go. But in any event, subscribe, like the videos, tell your friends, get the word out. Thank you.